Hello, everyone. Claudius Henrichs. I'm the Best Practice Center lead at Lithium. We provide communities, social media management for more than 500 iconic global brands globally. A little bit about my history, because that will explain where I'm heading. I have a background in actually gaming enthusiast communities, which I used to run for about 8 years. Later on, I joined Skype to run the global Skype community for 6 years, from the whole journey from being a smaller startup to eBay acquisition and eventually Microsoft. And 2 years ago, I joined Lithium with that experience in communities to help other customers run online communities successfully as well. And since then, I've been talking to a lot of customers in my role as a Best Practice Center lead and learn from other industries on how they run online communities. And that's been quite a change, because coming from Skype, peer-to-peer was always built in, kind of connecting with other customers. And talking to finance and insurance customers lately, it's interesting to see how that has moved on from the initial discussions of ROI of communities to a more deeper sense of what's the actual value that communities can bring to my customer experience. And just recently, we actually did a research on the impact of trust in the relationship finance services have with their customers. And I'd like to share a little bit of what we learned there and what I've seen in the industry, what we've seen in the industry, people have come up with to make up for some of the trust issues that we've seen. Just to set the scene, I mean, in the finance world, it's still the same challenges that have been for years. People want to invest, save, to be better off and secured in when they're older or when their life situation changes. But what has changed quite fundamentally is just the surrounding and the environment that we operate in. We have services like Uber, Amazon, instant delivery, instant gratification. The standards that all these online services are setting, Facebook as well, the interactions that you have just set a totally different scene and really lead to extreme expectations that we have to meet these days. And now comes our research. So we asked 2,000 British adults on their relationship to their financial services. And 62% of them said, well, I'd like to do all my financial services online. I'm comfortable with doing all of that online. But only 23% actually trust the information that they receive from their financial providers online. So there's a deep discrepancy between where you want to be served and the information that you trust receiving there, as opposed to 58% actually trusting the information they receive in the office, physically visiting their branch, but only 20% actually wanting to go there. So how do we enable or push forward that change to actually increase the trust? And what are the benefits that we could see from that? And why actually trust matters? Let me just add this on top. Because with trust, you also have the evil twin of distrust. And if you look at the behavior customers show towards trusted and distrusted companies, there's quite some value that you can put against trust towards a company. So as you can see, the level of engagement and actually choosing to buy a product or not buying a product is largely led by the trust that you have towards that organization, and also the way that you promote within your family that company, or that you actually distract by sharing bad reviews online, is largely led by trust and not by the actual digital experience that you have with that company. So how do we now find a solution for the rising extreme expectations and the downfall of trust? I think we've seen a few ways, and all of them focus around the idea of building a community and actually enabling a dialogue with your customers, and finding the right tools to actually deliver a whole holistic 360 experience with your customer. So the first step you need to actually deliver is building an online community. And most of you will probably already have that. You have Facebook or Twitter, or you have already, as referenced twice already by the speakers today, you already have an established customer base, and this is already your community. It's a dialogue that most of the time does not happen yet, but it enables you to actually gather insight from the discussions, the ideas that are being exchanged, and feed it back into your operations. But to deliver actually that community experience, you need to have the right tools. You need to empower your support team to actually get a holistic 360 view of your customers. So whenever they touch you on your community, on Facebook, on your social channels, calling you in, you need to have a holistic view. So you need to have the right tools available to respond to them with the right context, identifying them. So I think a similar challenge to Aviva, identifying quickly and provide a personalized and contextualized response. You also need internally to bridge a lot of gaps between the different parts of the organization. Marketing, support, all have their different angles to actually look at a customer. So a unified view on how you are reaching out to your customers internally is the other building block, because just to remind, the trust that we are trying to achieve is building on the customer perceiving the communication with you as being honest, being straightforward, and being respectful. And all of that requires that there's a unified language that you speak towards your customer. There's a complete holistic information that you reach out to them, and your customer support agents talk to your customers. And you need to know your audience. You need to know who, not just who is it that you're talking to, but where are they talking. You need to know the right channel to reach out to a certain customer, and where they are most comfortable to actually receive what type of information. So that could be a video, it could be a preference for actually long articles to be shared. As we've seen with the layering at Aviva, there's a lot of different aspects that you can actually focus on to deliver that right experience. And when we move on to actually delivering that message, It's about being able to share openly. So that's not just about being very transparent in your organization, but really sharing internally what is your strategy, a shared campaign calendar, tools that actually allow everyone in your organization to understand what kind of information are we sending out right now, what communication are we sending out, and what is the message that we're trying to get across right now. Also finding the right content to push out is a challenge that, just referencing back the birthday example of Blair's, pushing the wrong content at the right time is a failure just as well as the other way around. So really finding the right content for the right audience is where you need to have the right tool stack for as well. And then finally, obviously, you want to measure. You want to see what impact does it have with my campaigns. How are they landing? And am I reaching the right audience? So all of these packed together can help to increase the trust, because the customer will feel that they are actually respected and talked honestly to. And as a result, you will see, obviously, we had the reference earlier about the cost for an interaction on a contact center. Web is a much cheaper channel to reach out and serve your customers. And ideally, you will go for a peer-to-peer solution where actually your customers are helping each other, which again drives the cost down. With the right tools, again, you can achieve higher efficiency. And what we've seen with a lot of our customers is that it goes along with an increase in loyalty. And I think that's the closest proxy we have actually to measure trust. NPS probably is the closest you can get to ask the question, do you trust us? And then finally, in all the remaining aspects of acquisition, conversion, and loyalty, you will see that relying on community and social media channels as customer experience channels for building your trust, then you will see a fundamental impact in all of these. Again, these are all figures from some of our customers that we've seen affected by really changing around the way that they treat customer experience under these aspects. So let's look at some of these examples of what some of our customers have done. ING Direct, the French branch of ING, they are a direct bank, and they've very early on, they've been one of the first banking industry customers of ours that actually focused on communities. So they've replaced most of their support offering with what they call a Le Web Café, where customers can meet and exchange about financing best practices. And you can see some impressive figures stemming out of that, where they were able to increase their NPS quite a bit. The SEO impact always is quite substantial. And they were able to really build trust, as you can see by the amount of decreased complaints that you see. And again, increase the word-of-mouth marketing through that. And then we have German Consul Bank, which is a subsidiary of BNP as well. they very early on identified that there's a gap in the area of financial knowledge within their customer base. Everyday traders who were not that familiar with financial investment questions, and they've just set up basically what they call Consul Bank knowledge database, moderated by them, but run by their actual customers. And they found that through the interactions there, the ideations that they can source from the discussions that are happening on their knowledge exchange community, they were actually sourcing new product ideas. They've later on expanded this into actually ratings and reviews, so you can actually rate and review their bank account product, and just by putting this ratings and review button both on their .com page and within the community, they were able to actually fundamentally increase the conversion rate of these product pages. Again, we've heard that a few times. Recommendations from peers of you are much more influential. This is what is actually being put to play here. Ratings and reviews of other customers help to actually really push the conversion rate. And then we have Barclaycard with their Ring product. Ring is a totally community-based product where actually the community decides what features this card actually offers, and where the money is actually even spent in the organization. So all the community members that are customers of the Ring card are regularly engaged to give directions onto where the business is heading, where money is invested. And as you can see, this is actually a member page where people can see how they are spending, how they are investing, and how they are comparing to other members. So really putting the gamification idea into a financial product. And as you can see, you find aspects of what I referenced earlier on, building a community product around financial services, and all of them have in common that you see actually a decrease in customer complaints, an increase in NPS, again, a proxy for actually the level of trust that financial customers put into your offering. So, we've learned that trust is not the highest in the, at least, British financial service industry. And there are some solutions to actually join the conversations with your customers through communities and social media. And I'm happy to learn from you guys if you have, if you are seeing similar trends, or if you agree with what I've observed with some of our customers as being the solutions for this trust issue. Don't think we have time for questions now, but I'll stick around. Thank you.